Welcome back to my podcast, and thank you for sharing and subscribing in advance because I know what I'm talking about will be helpful for you. If not, at least switch your whole trajectory and get you right where you want to be, which is focus on the right thing. When it comes to focus, we are not trained to even recognize how important it is. Even in the 3D world, where your focus is equal to time, and as we know, time is money. Only thing is, in the 3D world, we can only fully understand everything we feel with our 5 senses and dismiss the 6th one as something that only some get and others only wish to obtain. We usually feel we have to go to some priest, guru, or psychic, or someone or thing outside of ourselves and not realize we are all made of the same stuff, and it is only you who you are supposed to turn to, but only turning to the future you that you would like to be. Whatever the thing is that animates the body and helps you become aware of it even existing, call it what you will. The sky god of the religions, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. That is what your focus is. That focus is the power within you. That is what your time is in the 4D, and what you focus on becomes manifested. And a great example of manifestation is money. And it could be very abundant or not, depending on what your true focus is. And keep in mind, we are always focused on something. I'm sure those of you who are multitaskers will fight me on this one and want to claim that you can focus on multiple things at one time, but in actuality, you're spending small intervals of focus on multiple things. The focus that you are giving on these things will cause those things to flourish in some way, shape, or form in the 3D world, good or bad. The majority of the time, we are focused on things that will grow for someone else's dream, also known as having a job, that you do to make money for someone else's idea, and not having enough time to our own selves and our own desires. We get caught up in lack in our own lives and can't even pay attention to our own desires, and we then find ourselves impoverished in our own lives, but making money for someone else to flourish abundantly. And we don't do this for our own selves. How can we? We don't have the time or the focus. We will work ourselves to death and find ourselves living in a state of lack our whole lives. And the thing we focus on, which is for the job, becomes abundant and we just get by. Time is money. This is the saying in the 3D world, but focus is abundance in the 4D world. If you desire anything in the world, we all agree that our thoughts create reality, or what you focus on grows. But we give lip service to these sayings and don't even realize that in that very moment we start noticing something is not going our way, we are giving focus to the lack of the thing we desire. This moment sometimes turns to a few days, months, or even years because we keep noticing that we do not have this thing that we really want. If we could understand the words focus, attention, notice, and become aware of something, is another way of saying, I'm seeing this thing that has drawn my attention and I'm not happy with it. It makes me very upset because why couldn't it be here already? Like, come on. Or I'm triggered by this thing that happened and I must address it every time the thing I want comes close but no cigar. I'm upset by this because I do not have the thing I want. These things are another way of recognizing I do not have it and thus I am lacking it. But we don't acknowledge this as a form of not being focused on the things actually wanted, and we'll dismiss this as just a thing I'm saying in passing. And that's when we start lying to ourselves. When you are aware of the annoying thing that you wish you could be rid of, you are focused on it, and thus more, getting more of it. In that very moment that you are doing this, your focus has been turned away from what you want and laser focused on the things that you do not want. Then your emotions get tied into it, and you start telling yourself a story that brings you right to a place you do not want to be. And then that old story starts to come back and rules your mind. This all, again, is a lot of focus on what you do not want. And the only way to get out of this cycle is to do one of two things. Actually take the bull by the horns and say, stop. Or focus in on your own self by asking yourself, where am I right now? Remind yourself that that is not the story that you said was going to happen. This can take a lot of mental strength, but if you are saying you are understanding that your thoughts create reality and what you're focused on grows, this will not be hard once you realize this is true. None of the laws of physics or gravity, relativity, etc. care about circumstances and just act according to what they are. The same thing goes for the laws of the universe. Gravity will not say, oh, this is a baby, or they have great credit and they're nice people. I won't let them be because, I like them, or play favorites in any way. It is always what goes up must come down, and that is it. This is the same thing with the 7 main principles that the 4D world is ruled by. The number 7 is a very important one here, and a lot can come from it. It's a number of completion. 7 days in a week, 7th day is a Sabbath, there are 7 colors in a rainbow, and 7 notes in a scale, etc. And just think about it. The rainbow and notes give us many colors and a variety of styles of music. These 7 laws are the basics, and we call them the law of attraction or the law of assumption because those two things are made up of the same 7 principles. Fight over it or not, that's the truth. The law of attraction and the law of assumption are the same 7 principles being labeled as something else. The 7 principles are mentalism, vibration, correspondence, cause and effect, polarity, rhythm, and gender. The reasons why people are now arguing over the law of attraction versus the law of assumption is because they just do not understand what those laws are fully, or that there are even 7 of them. This is what happened with all the religions of the world. They came from the same principles, and then someone who didn't understand they were doing the same thing said this other way is better, and then they added ritual to it, and it just became what we know as all these sects and religions and ideas that we are stuck on and not paying attention to the truth, that they are the same thing. And we've been distracted from the truth. Law of assumption is a focus on polarity and peppered in with correspondence with a whole lot of mentalism and gender. And the rest of the laws are reacting to the others as they all marry together. Just as the colors of the rainbow blend with each other, these laws do the same. You do not see just red and then orange, then yellow. There's no distinct line. This is the same with the law of attraction and the law of assumption. The law of attraction focuses more on mentalism and kind of overseasons the whole thing with ritual, aka do this technique and think that the technique is going to make it happen and not realize you are still focused on polarity, gender, and then mention vibration a lot. Even though assuming something different than what is sucking at this very moment is, in fact, raising your vibration. That's for the law of assumption people who cannot stand hearing the term, because here's the secret. Nobody goes into depth as to how to do it. They just say it like, it's supposed to be automatically done when it's said, raise your vibration. This whole thing is the most confusing thing, unnecessarily so, because no one has taken the time out to read about what they are and just do the same as all the religions do to this day. Just do it and not question. But it's another subject for another podcast, okay? We got to get back to focus. When you're feeling upset about a thing that just happened contrary to what you actually want and you notice it, stop looking at it and turn your mind to the thing you actually want. Look at the person who you are aiming to be and ask yourself, would this version of me be experiencing this thing or complaining about this thing that happened? You will realize they absolutely would not be. Why would they? If they are having the thing that you are wanting, they would be having a whole different mindset and the thoughts would be on something else entirely. If you want money and you decide that you and money have been having issues, but now you would like to be best friends with money, and you would not want to focus on complaining about the unexpected bill or ticket or lack of money. That's what the old version would do. The version that is best friends with money would even feel different about the way money and them would interact with each other. After all, money is your best friend, not your frenemy. There would be genuine friendship where you know money loves you and is always giving to you. Not the fake friendships that a lot of us have and only keep around because we've known them for a long time. And that ever gets on my nerves. But when I need them, they sometimes come through, though they do hate on me and kick me when I'm down. But that's just how it is, right? That is not friendship. That is you not getting out of a much needed comfort zone and finding new people that will appreciate you. This friendship with money is the best you have ever had, and you love them dearly and hang out with them often, and you guys never get tired of each other because you understand each other. And on top of that, money is giving to you non-stop. This is the friendship the newer version of you has with money. The old version has paranoia, distrust, worry, anxiety, and a lot of what ifs questions. That version will pop up and wreck your whole focus because it's the most dominant state that you're in and are comfortable with. The switching of the states is the most uncomfortable part of the whole thing about focus, and it will keep you in a dominant state of money is my frenemy. There is also another state to look out for, and that's the state of being in the middle, and not fully in the state of I do not have it, but also not fully in the state of I do have it. It's the, well, I agree with both sides indecision state. That is also, I do not have it and causes confusion. When in the state of no one wins except confusion because it's going back and forth between being focused on having it and not having it. This is the adulterous nations of the Bible. Stay away from it. It only delays things. Pick a side. With this whole thing of focus, you must be brave and test yourself. Question yourself. What am I doing right now? Where am I right now? If it's not feeling good, there is your answer. Calm yourself emotionally and then refocus on what you actually want to be. There are a lot of techniques to help you with all of these things, and then people do them, and as soon as it's done, they get right back into the state of lack throughout the J in their mind and wonder why it's taking so long. Even in wondering, why has it not happened yet, is a lack of focus. Why are you aware of it not being here? Go right back to where you want to be in your mind. You don't have time to even look at that. It takes away from your time of having it and your attention to the new fact that you are working towards solidifying into your reality. Darn it, JJ! I'm not a machine! I have feelings and they're bruised right now and I cannot stop looking at what's really happening. That's delusional. I'm not there yet. Right, I get it. It is not an easy thing to do. I admit that. But there are some things you can do to help you get back there mentally that can help tremendously. But if you find that you do not have time to do these things, you need to question why not. This whole thing is like exercise for the mind. And just like physical exercise, you must start off small and then grow your stamina. You do not start off doing 100 sit-ups on the first try and then get upset that you couldn't do it. Try doing 5 and seeing if you can get to 10, and then try for more at another time. You do not just wake up with a six-pack after doing 1 sit-up. That is not how it works. The same thing goes for mental alchemy, in which all of this is. So now let me tell you about 2 techniques that can help you build your mental stamina. The first technique is what I call the itch technique. The other one is called trial and error technique, both of which should be done while manifesting the big thing you want. The itch technique helps you recognize how strong your focus is and how to relate it to getting the things you desire in your physical world. The trial and error technique tests out how well you can keep things up despite how things look in the 3D world, and your ability to see the things through to the end. These both are very minuscule things that will help you train yourself to get the bigger things with ease, because this is what you're doing with the big things anyway. With the itch test, all you do is not scratch when you feel an itch on your body. I promise you, you will not die or have any medical issues if you do not take your hand and scratch the heck out of that itch. Oh no, but JJ, I have eczema and I cannot not scratch it. It's not possible because it's very itchy. And my doctor says that I must use cream to help with this itchy skin. You do not understand. And you're being insensitive to my circumstance. Okay? I get it. Fight for that limitation. I understand completely. Keep doing what you want to do. I say this as a person who has never had eczema, but has had immense pain that I had to do this same very thing with because of a metal rod I had that had loosened in my bone, moving and causing knife-like pains every step I took. I have done this and it's worked like a charm every time. So go, do what feels comfortable to you. But comfort is not always good for you and will certainly help you stay where you are. That being said, for those of you interested in trying, when the itch happens, do not scratch it, but stay focused on something else that you're doing. If you have an itch and you're driving or doing something, don't pay it any attention, but get more involved in the thing you're doing or find a new focus and stick to it. Put all your concentration and focus on the completion of the task, and the itch will go away. Really, test that out and see how it works. And trust me, it does work if your reticular activation system is doing its job. Yes, science terms. Your reticular activation system, aka your ass, shout out to all my Jamaicans, is the thing that presents all the pieces of information that are important to you, even seeks out information that validates your belief. Here's an example. When you're scrolling through social media and you're totally distracted from the outside world, and no one better have the nerve to interrupt you as you scroll because you will not even notice them. Why? Because it's not your focus. Also, if something happens that you notice, it'll help you find more evidence of it being true. Example, in your mind, money's hard to keep, and then you get a bill, and another thing pops up, and you got to pay this, that, and the other thing. Then you have proof of how hard money is to come by. However, you can focus on the positive thing or the task at hand, and you will not notice anything other than the thing you are working on. So do this with the itch test. I promise nothing bad is going to happen if you decide to not scratch that one itch. You will notice it's gone. Do that as often as possible to build up the focus muscle, then move on from the itch to something else outside of you, and you will see it will be like being able to do your first 10 sit-ups without stopping, and then testing yourself by adding on 5 more. With a trial and error technique, start out doing it with things you do not care about, like a street light changing that always seems to be red when you get to it, or an item popping up out of nowhere that seems to not be so easy to get, that minuscule, like a certain candy at the store that you like. When you do this may take a few tries before you see the results, but it doesn't matter. You do not care because you know if you go to the store and the item isn't there, your head will not explode and you'll be okay. Keep focusing on having the item and how good it would feel if it were there, or how happy you are now that you have the item in your hand while you consume it. The item can be something like a candy bar or a beer or a soda, just as long as it's an item that you have noticed isn't always there. This is you testing out the waters. You build from that one item to something else that's more important, but not as big as money to you. Just something that would be cool to see be there. This is you really honing in on focusing only on what you want without the emotional triggers that the bigger things would give you. This is very easy and helps you build up an understanding of how things work for you, and also builds your confidence in manifesting. Plus, it builds your ability to focus. As I said before, focus is so important that you must learn what you are truly focused on. Your focus and what you focus on is so important, your job pays you for it. How about build yourself up and pay yourself attention? Your manifestation is your currency as a result of your focus. It is a known fact, and we are trained to not even notice it, because they can control how you think, not that you think. And the moment, instant, and second you realize the value of your focus, you will never waste it on things that are not in alignment with where you want to be. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but our own selves can free our own minds. But first, become aware of what it is you're focused on and make no excuses about it. The instant you go to complain about the issue with a friend and family, you're focused on what you do not want. And your payment will be just that, something that you do not want. So change your focus. Thank you for listening, and please like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure you know someone who needs to hear this. Please pass it along. Thanks.